afternoon. I'm Carolyn Rye, Chair of the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach, and I hereby call this special meeting to order at 5:00 p.m. on this second day of March 2021. In accordance with the schedule of school board meetings approved by the school board at the January 12, 2021 organizational regular meeting, and pursuant to Bylaw 146 and Virginia Code 2.2-3707, the school board will hold a special meeting on Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021, at 5:00 p.m. in the school board chambers in the School Administration Building Number 6 at the Municipal Center, 2512 George Mason Drive, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23456. The purpose of this special meeting is for the school board to discuss and take action on 1, the school's operating budget for fiscal year 2021-22, and 2, proposed capital improvement program, otherwise known as CIP, fiscal year 2021-22 through fiscal year 2026-27. Pursuant to the state of emergency related to the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor's executive orders, the Virginia Freedom of Information Act as amended by the Virginia General Assembly, and the school board's April 7th, 2020 emergency resolution, this special meeting of the school board of the City of Virginia Beach will be conducted in person for school board members and certain staff members. However, due to the necessary health mitigation strategies in place, it is impractical and unfeasible for the public to attend this meeting in person. Members of the public will be able to observe the school board meeting through live streaming on vbschools.com, broadcast on VBTV Channel 47, and on Zoom. So with that, I call this meeting to order and ask our clerk to take a verbal roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Present in school board chambers are Ms. Rye, Ms. Melnick, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Felton, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Hughes, Ms. Manning, Ms. Owens, Ms. Riggs, and Ms. Weems, and attending via Zoom inside the school administration building is Ms. Holtz.
Thank you. I now ask my colleagues and all those present to join me in a moment of silence. And please stand as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we will now move on to the adoption of tonight's meeting agenda. A motion to approve. Mrs. Manning, a second. Mrs. Melnick. Please show your approval with a raised hand.
Madam Chair, we have a unanimous vote.
Thank you all. All right, so that brings us to action, the highlight of this evening. So we begin with the resolution regarding school board operating budget for fiscal year 2021-22, and we will begin with a motion to approve, please. Ms. Owens, and a second, Mrs. Melnick. And so Ms. Weems, our Planning and Performance Monitoring Committee Chair, would you please proceed to read the resolution aloud?
Yes, thank you. Budget Resolution FY 2021-22. Whereas the mission of Virginia Beach City Public Schools, in partnership with the entire community, is to empower every student to become a lifelong learner who is a responsible, productive, and engaged citizen within the global community. And whereas the school board of the City of Virginia Beach has adopted a comprehensive strategic plan and school improvement priorities to guide budgetary decisions. And whereas the school board has studied the recommended FY 2021-22 operating budget in view of state and federal requirements, the strategic plan, priorities, community expectations, competitive compensation for employees, and the best educational interest of its students. And whereas the city school revenue sharing policy provides 46.75% of certain general fund revenues to meet obligations of the school board of the city of Virginia Beach. And whereas the proposed operating budget moves all eligible employees up an experience step, 0.5%, not to exceed the top of the scale, and provides a 4.5% cost of living adjustment for all employees. And whereas the total funds requested for FY 21-22 from the City of Virginia Beach to the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach are $467,760,752. And whereas the debt service payment is estimated to be $49,442,812, leaving a balance of $418,317,940 to allocate between the operating budget and the capital improvement program. And whereas $5,300,000 of the school reserve special revenue fund, which would have normally been used for major one-time purchases, will now be budgeted to use for the FY 21-22 operating budget. Now, therefore, be it resolved, further resolved, that federal funds in the amount of $13,500,000, along with state funds in the amount of $387,830,712, and other local funds in the amount of $3,868,341 be added to the operating budget, bringing it to a total for F1 2021-22 of $823,516,993. And be it further resolved that $5,300,000 of the school reserve special revenue fund be added to the operating budget, bringing the total to $828,816,993. And be it further resolved that the school board of the City of Virginia Beach request a lump sum appropriation of $828,816,993 from the City Council of Virginia Beach for the school board FY 21-22 operating budget. And be it further resolved that the school board of the City of Virginia Beach requests an appropriation of $176,637,421 for categorical grants and other special revenue funds, comprised of federal grants in the amount of $89,526,508, state grants in the amount of $24,661,514, other grants in the amount of $7,567,200, the Green Run Collegiate in the amount of $4,193,884, and other special revenue funds in the amount of $50,688,315. And be it further resolved that the school board of the City of Virginia Beach requests a lump sum appropriation of $1,005,454,414 for the grand total of all funds, $828,816,993 for the operating budget, plus $176,637,421 for categorical grants and other special revenue funds. And be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread across the official minutes of this school board, and the clerk for the school board is directed to deliver a copy of this resolution to the mayor, each mayor of city council, the city manager, and the city clerk, adopted by the school board of the City of Virginia Beach the second day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mrs. Weems. So this would be the point for any colleagues who have any final questions or comments. Mrs. Hughes.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't get it on at first. I've gone back and forth on this budget, and I think it's very important. We have teachers in here all the time, even prior to now, talking about how teachers should be treated like professionals and should be paid better, and I agree. And, as far as treating teachers professionally, that's not something you throw money at. Those are whole different issues that we need to deal with. Right now, we're hearing that we need to do a 5% raise because teachers don't get raises. And actually, I'm going to have to refer to Miss Manning's post. They've gotten a raise every single year for the last 5 years, except for last year when it got taken away because of the shutdown, which is no fault of the teachers, no fault of the division. If the tax dollars aren't there, they're not there. But as I went back and forth and back and forth, and I've had discussions with board members also about optics of different things. The optics of having the general public, a lot of people out of work, losing their jobs, losing their businesses, and another 5% tax raise across the board, 5% raise across the board. When parents are making choices between going to work and paying child care, and they're taking on some of the teaching duties because their children are at home, and then you have a teacher come speak and say, well, this is just a pittance compared to what we deserve, and that the public needs to absorb more education costs. I think people have forgotten, anyone who is a government employee, every education cost is 100% absorbed by the public. That's where the money comes from. And I found that to be very, very insulting and very insensitive to people who are losing jobs. And I just don't think I can support this budget. That was kind of, that person speaking was kind of the clarity that I needed on this as I went back and forth. So I'm not going to be able to support this budget.
Okay, anybody else? All right, with that, we'll do this in order. We'll first ask with a raised hand those in favor of the budget to show a raised hand, please.
Miss Williams, was your hand up or down? Miss Williams? Thank you. We're ready to proceed with the nays.
Okay, all those opposed, kindly raise your hand.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we have 9 ayes with Ms. Franklin, Ms. Owens, Ms. Riggs, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Melnick, Ms. Rye, Ms. Weems, Ms. Felton, and Ms. Holtz. We have 2 nays with Ms. Hughes and Ms. Manning, so it did pass with 9 votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you, colleagues. Okay, action item B, resolution regarding capital improvement program, CIP, for fiscal year 2021-22 through fiscal year 26-27. And as with the previous resolution, we'll begin with a motion to approve. Mrs. Riggs, a second. Mrs. Anderson. Okay, discussion or questions? Mrs. Manning.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry we didn't read it.
Oh,
So thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Please proceed, Mrs. Melnick, with the reading of the resolution.
certainly. Whereas the mission of Virginia Beach City Public Schools, in partnership with the entire community, is to empower every student to become a lifelong learner who is a responsible, productive, and engaged citizen within the global community. And whereas the school board of the City of Virginia Beach has adopted a comprehensive strategic plan and school improvement priorities to guide budgetary decisions. And whereas the primary funding sources for the capital improvement program are charter bonds, public facility revenue bonds, and reversion funding. And whereas the city and school revenue sharing policy provides 46.75% of certain general fund revenues to meet obligations of the school board of the city of Virginia Beach. And whereas the city and school revenue sharing policy allocates funds first to debt service, while the balance is used for the operating budget. And whereas the school board has comprehensively reviewed all sources of funding, projected various scenarios, and prioritized the needs of operating and CIP budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the school board of the city of Virginia Beach adopts a CIP program of $619,653,047 as shown on the attached school board funding summary and project summary dated March 2nd, 2021. And be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread across the official minutes of this school board, and the clerk of the school board is directed to deliver a copy of this resolution to the mayor, each member of the city council, the city manager, and the city clerk. Adopted by the school board of the city of Virginia Beach this second day of March 2021.
Thank you, Mrs. Melnick. And now, Mrs. Manning, please proceed.
Thank you very much. You know, I'm pleased with this CIP this year. We have been able to make a little bit of a bigger dent in our CIP and our construction than we have in the past. I'm pleased to see that we've moved up some of our project dates, including some of our schools in the Bayside community. And I know Ms. Weems is the Bayside rep, not me, but I'm sure she's pleased with that. And I'm sure our Bayside community will be as well. I just want to say for the record that I would like to be a part of planning for our next school construction project. I do think that we need to watch the costs of our future school buildings. I think that we're spending too much money on our architectural designs, and we need to be focusing on, definitely focusing on the long-term effectiveness of our builds, and I think that we do a good job of that. But I think that there are some bells and whistles that we can be taking off of those designs as well. So I would be like to be a part of that process when we do start, probably here in the near future, planning on the construction and planning phases of the Princess Anne High School construction project. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right, then with that, again, we will begin with those in favor of this capital improvement program as proposed. Kindly raise your hand.
Madam Chair, we have unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you all. That concludes our business for this evening. Again, thanks to colleagues and staff alike for all the weeks and months of effort that brought us to this conclusion this evening. With that, everybody have a good evening.